All right, in this video, we're going to be talking about quarterback rating, which means we're going into the world of football. Now, you don't have to be a football expert to determine the passer rating of a quarterback in the NFL. Now, just a quick thing. In football, a passer rating is a formula that uses a quarterback's stats to determine its passing leader. It's used in the NFL on a scale of 0 to 158.3. Now, for folks that don't know what a quarterback is, it's typically the guy that throws the ball. That's what a quarterback is. You don't have to be a football genius to figure out this lesson. Now, just to put some things in context. Here's some stats that I pulled off the internet that shows some of the stronger, more successful quarterbacks in the NFL at this moment, and you have an idea of where on the scale they're going to be at. So, some of the best quarterbacks are not going to be in the 100 range. So, for the quarterbacks or NFL scale going all the way to 158.3, you're probably not going to see a lot of that. So, just kind of keep in mind what your answer is going to be. Now, let's say if you're not a football fan or anything, let me break this down even further. Here's a formula. Take the information, put it in the formula, get your answer. All right. Now, there's a couple things that we need to highlight, but going into an example is going to help us out. All right, so here we go. For the first two games of the 2008 season, Dallas Cowboy quarterback Tony Romo completed 45 passes, 62 attempts, and a total of 632 yards with 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. All right, so verify Romo's quarterback rating for those games is approximately 113. Round each value to its nearest tenth. All right, so basically, again, we're taking all this information and plugging it into this formula. Now, there's a couple things I want to highlight before we move on. And that is, every part of the formula, like this right here, this percentage complete, we use different colors so you can see it, this percentage of touchdowns, all of this is actually a small little division problem. All right, so let's go ahead and try one. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the formula here. Here's my long division problem. All right, now a couple things that's already in there is this 25. So it's 25 plus 10. All right, now it says percent completions. Percent completions. So if you look down here, it says percent completions, and that is the percent of completions per attempt. Well, percent of completions. Well, let's see. He completed 45 passes in 62 attempts. So the word per means divide. So I'm going to say 45 over 62, and I'm going to get 0.7258. I'm just going to stop right there. Now, I know I'm writing over everything, but I'm going to clean it up a little bit. All right, here's the tricky part, and that is this. It says the percent of completions. What we found out was the decimal of completions. So we've got to convert every single one of these to percentage, which means moving it 2 places over. So that would be 72.6. Okay? For the next one, it says the percent of touchdown passes per attempt. So percent touchdowns. So let's see. He had 4 touchdowns, but notice per attempt. So and I got to write this down here because I ran out of room. 4 divided by the attempts, which is 62. So 4 divided by 62, and I get an answer of 0.0645. Now, again, it is percent touchdowns. So that means I'm going to move the decimal 2 places over, which I get 6.5%. Now, again, in the formula here, it says plus 40 times that. So plus 40, parenthesis, 6.5. Okay? This is like the only formula in AMDM where you're actually going to have to convert back to the percentage. Everything else has been converting percentage back to decimal. Now, notice the next part of our formula, minus 50. Minus 50 times the percent interceptions. Well, again, The percent of interceptions is interceptions divided by attempt. So interceptions, let's see, he had 2 interceptions divided by attempt. So off to the side here, I got to write down here because I just kind of ran. That's not 4. I'm sorry, 2 interceptions. I don't know where that 6 came from. All right, so it would be 2 over 62. So again, 2 divided by 62, you get an answer of 0.0322. Move the decimal 2 places over, and you get 3.2. All right? Now, I'm going to have to clean this up a little bit just because I made a mess of everything here. So let me see if I can move something over. All right, and the last one that's going to throw everybody off, and that is the very tail end of this formula, which is plus 50. All right, so that would be plus 50. Oops, deleted that for a second. Let's try this again. All right, so that would be plus 50. Now, it says 50 times the yards. Notice there's no percentage here, so you're not going to move the decimals here. So it's average yards per attempt. So the average yards ends up being 632 over attempts, which is 62. This is the only time, let me say it again, this is the only time where you're not going to move the decimal. And so that's going to be 10.19, which I'm just going to go ahead and say 10.2, and hopefully I can write this on here. I'm running out of room here, 10.2, just barely. All right, now all of this divided by 12. So all of this divided by 12. So when you're doing this in your calculator, put the entire numerator in your calculator, press enter, and then divide it by 12. So I'll say it again. Take your entire numerator in your calculator. You can type it in just like it's written, press enter, and then divide it by 12. All right? So when we do that, we get an answer of a passer rating of 113.4. So the question was to determine, let me clean this up again, to determine, or basically to check to make sure that it equals 113, and it ended up being 113.4. So yes, we're good. We're good with that. All right, the next one. As of 2009, Steve Young has the highest career quarterback rating in NFL history. All right, so now we're doing Steve Young's entire career. Now, what might help you out is rather than going through the formula like I did, do it step by step. Figure out the percent of completions first, the percent of passes, the percent of interceptions. Do that first and then plug it into your calculator. Then plug it into your formula. So if I was to do that, the percent of completions per attempt. All right. So he completed 2,059 passes, and his attempts was 3,192. So 2,059 divided by 3,192. I'm going to get an answer. All right. Now the percent of touchdown passes. So again, touchdown passes. Let's see. Oh, here it is. 174. So 174 divided by his attempts, 3,192. I'm going to get an answer. The percent of interceptions. Well, he threw 85 interceptions in his career. Not too bad. Divided by 3,192. Get an answer. And the average yards per attempt. So the average yards per attempt was 25,479, and I'm dividing that per attempt. Remember, per means divide, 3,192. Now go ahead and pause the video and figure out what that's going to be. And these are what your answers should be. Now remember, you're going to always convert to a percentage. So some of you guys are probably like, wait a minute, I didn't get 64.5% completions. I got 0.645. But remember, you're moving the decimal 2 places over. All right. Now at this point, we're going to plug into the formula here. Now once you figured out what all the percentages are, plugging them into the formula is really should be pretty easy for you. All right. So here we go. 25 plus 10 times the percent completion, which is 64.5, close parenthesis, plus 40 times 5.5, close parenthesis, minus 50 All I'm doing is just reading out the formula, or just going off the formula here. 2.7. Remember, the average yards is not percentage. If you're going to mess up on the formula, that's where it's going to be at. And it was 7.98, but that's as close to the 8 as we can get for the most part. We're just going to times that by 8. And then you're dividing it by 12. So again, your entire numerator, which is this right here, press enter, and then divide it by 12. Pause the video and let's see what we got. And we got a quarterback rating of 96.3. Not bad for Steve Young. He'll be definitely a Hall of Famer. But anyway, if you have any questions, please let me know next time you see me. Thank you.